This is a story called Crossbone Rumble by Christopher Donleona, also known as Peaceful-blu, under the subreddit Short Stories. The world has deemed us vagabonds, vagrants of society, deviants, criminals. However, we here today know the truth. We, the truly free, follow only one rule: to live exactly how we desire. Respect is earned and taken on the high seas, and those without the balls to fight will end up in the drink, the captain on the centermost ship announces. There are 10 or so ships, darkened by gunpowder, curled around a galleon known as Battleground. It's the size of 3 ships combined. No pirate amongst the crowding ship knows the truth of its origin, but the old guard speculates Davy himself commissioned the vessel for this very purpose. As far as the eye can see, pirate ships gather for the annual event, in the hopes of seeing yet another Kraken be born into the age of sailors. The announcer's voice echoes out over the water as if he's using some sort of magic. His words whisper to every man and woman who call themselves a scourge of the high seas, and even those who don't. We gather here today for one reason, and one reason only: to see who among us is worthy of the title passed from pirate to pirate. Kraken, smiter of ocean wraiths. There is a long pause as the name resonates through every ship. As if to break the silence itself, the water starts to ripple around the galleon, which remains ever still for a few moments. There is presently no one aboard the ship. The thousands of pirates present all have their sea legs permanently on, but as the galleon begins to spin, the waves it makes are enough to scramble even the most seasoned ship hands. But none fall, as to preserve their honor. As you can see, the Royale is about to begin. The last Kraken of the 53rd is here to grace the 54th anniversary of the Rumble. I know you all remember him. He ended the games last year with a bang, tanking several cannonballs to the chest like it was nothing. And like every previous year, the Kraken will be helping us to run interference on the participants, the announcer says. The crowd's cheers begin to fight back against the galleon's unnerving creation of storm-like waves. In the far-off middle of the ocean, a momentous ruckus of grand design erupts as the precious seconds tick away. I know it goes against everything we know, but the rules are as follows. 1. Anyone who is to enter must find their way to the spinning ship, a feat any true pirate worth their salt can manage. 2. No weapons are permitted to be on your person on the initial entrance of the ship. Any weapon you find aboard the Battleground is free game, and any weapon thrown aboard by interference is also free pickings. 3. If you fall in the drink, you're out. 4. The last standing is the next Kraken. No debate. No question. 5. Finally, fight to your heart's content. And don't forget, creativity and cunning just might be your last saving grace. Yarr! With the final pirate bell, the Royale aboard Battleground commences. The pirates, eager to draw first blood, fly from their respective ships using rigging ropes and bouncing themselves off sails. Some even have their strongest crewmates toss them as far as they can over the sea, vying to find standing aboard the vessel. The prestige that comes with the title cannot be overstated, and those who hold it have near-perfect dominion over certain parts of the sea. Immediately some fall into the brine of the foamy sea, with their crew trying to make quick their rescue. No pirate will admit their fear of the deep, and rightfully so. No potential Kraken can show any signs of it, for in the end, if they won the Rumble, they would surely meet a grisly fate. Before too long, the entrance to the ship will be barred, and the whirlpool will seize. Any would-be participants better hurry. Yarr! Chortles the announcer. So far, only a handful of hardened pirates have made it onto Battleground, and they did so easily, it made everyone else look like mere children sailing a dinghy for the first time. In about 30 seconds, the true test of your mettle begins, and so too the first volley of metallic hail from on high. The sound of the announcer's words pour fire onto the crowd, igniting their already excited cheers. In a mere instant, Battleground abruptly stops, flinging a few contestants far and away from any further combat, a sort of final effort to discard the unworthy. Kraken Steel, take us to the penultimate, the announcer says, gesturing them to center stage. Thank you, Kraken Sound, Steel says, unyielding in their posture. With the strongest hand amongst all the still living Krakens, Steel hoists a cannonball the size of a boulder over his head and lobs it directly at the combatants aboard Battleground. Of the 100 still standing, all but one scatter from the cannonball's reach. Just before it makes contact, Sound snaps their fingers, drawing all attention. Boom! The giant ball explodes into pieces, searching for things to rend asunder. Shrapnel flies freely, bouncing off the ship's hull, not wanting to harm the fighting area. None of the combatants suffer too greatly, especially given their status on their respective ships, 50 captains and 50 first mates. Many a crew lose their leading force during this display, some even transition because of it, Sound says to Steele. It is up to destiny who will come out on top. Don't you agree? Do you believe in that sort of thing, Captain? Steele asks. How could I not, having seen things in my time here in this mortal coil? No one holds a position too long, opting to fly to and fro. They find themselves performing in a show rather than partaking in a fight. However, they make do, passing glancing blows whenever there is an opportunity. The whirlwind of ship acrobatics on display is quite impressive, Sound says to the spectators. The crowd of vagabonds go absolutely wild watching things unfold, and at the same time keep stoking the fight by adding various armaments to the forge. Knives, swords, guns, chains, and cannonballs, all blacked by gunpowder. At the center of battleground, a lone captain stands fighting toe-to-toe with a man twice his size, the only two who haven't found themselves reinforcement in a near-infinity armory. His name is Captain Vortex, so called because of his prowess with a blade. Like a spinning top of malice, never to know defeat, if he ever gets a blade in his hand, he is unstoppable, so the rumors say. Unfortunately, his reputation precedes him, meaning every pirate in the competition is doing their level best to keep anything sharp from his reach, or that's what some would assume. However, he has made no attempt at finding a weapon, instead choosing to fight bare fist. A show of arrogance, or rather a foolish endeavor. His opponent, Whitlaw, is not faring any better against his chosen handicap. Whitlaw was one of the poor souls unlucky enough to be struck by the metal debris in the explosion, taking a few pieces to the body. Not severe enough to take him out, but just enough to slow him down. As a result, Vortex keeps attacking the protruding metal, which slows the already lumbering pirate. It looks like we will have our first dropout in Whitlaw, Sound barks across the crashing waves. And as if predicted by fate, Whitlaw battles it out, to the bitter end, with Vortex. They trade blows as commonly as one would trade alcohol for doubloons, drunken and unabashed. Consumed by their will to win, Whitlaw finally picks a weapon, hoping to gain an upper hand. This is a mistake he will soon come to regret. So it is decided, Steele says to Sound as they chuck another enormous cannonball. Sounds laughs, taking off his bicorn. Not quite. Every man and woman still in the arena are hardened blades themselves. Why would only Vortex have the upper hand? They have been keeping Vortex away from any blade. It shows their fear, Steele retorts. Fear. No one amongst the water knows fear, Mr. Steele. Only violence, in the worst way. Sound can see his first mate also has a favorite to win. Again, as the last syllable leaves Sound's lips, Vortex is cut down, their backs slashed mercilessly by an onslaught of the blade, but not by Whitlaw, by a lass, known as Captain Dread. You know, Steele, every year the Rumble ends with one person killing or wounding nearly every other participant in a poignant display of might. Such is the fate of a Kraken. Last year it was you who struck down 50 men and women, one by one. In the 44th, it was I who made bloody ears of everyone aboard, until submission. In the 35th, when I was just a young man, I witnessed my own mother make short work of 109 sailors. I see your point, Captain, but do you honestly think things will go the same as always? Steele asks. Who can say for sure? However, I have learned patterns are to be trusted and often observed. But rarely is a pirate's fate decided by ramblings. Sound laughs. Captain Dread kicks a man square in the chest, sending them to the edge of the ship and into the deep. So far she has made red, the wood of the ship. No one else has held her at a stalemate. These things are merely a formality, Mr. Steele. The Kraken has already chosen its avatar, and the Rumble is their introduction ceremony. The carnage unfolding aboard Battleground is truly a sight to see. The orchestra of clashing steel makes merry the sailors watching. One by one, pirates are sent overboard or slain where they stand. Captain Dread has whittled the competition down, single-handedly taken 30 out herself, most of which have been sent into the depths. It seems we have a lenient candidate this year in Dread. I guess it's for the best. We wouldn't want everyone to die every year, Sound says to the arena. And just like that, there were 20, then 15, then 10, then 5. The remaining 5 all did their fair share of damage, but nowhere near the magnitude of Dread, who took out 60 combatants single-handedly, quickly and efficiently, with nothing more than a single cutlass. Had there been more pirates aboard, she would have boasted even larger numbers. As the last 5 noticed they are indeed the last 5, 4, minus Captain Dread, begin to approach the center of the ship, almost in a way to congratulate themselves, or ask Davy for one last blessing. Dread climbs the side wall of the ship and holds her cutlass aloft. "It was fun, lads and lasses, but I do have somewhere to be, people to subjugate. Let's make this quick," Captain Dread says as the ship begins to rock. "This rumble is far from over," Captain Falls says as one of the remaining 5. "There are still 5 more to kill, you included." "No, we're done here," Kraken Dread says as the ship begins to lift and turn sideways. "I have been chosen, and you have not." "It seems we have a winner," Sound says. The ship is hoisted from the sea and dumps 3 remaining participants into the all blue. The tentacles hold battleground high in the air, lightly shaking it to remove the unwanted. Dread stands atop the overturned ship waiting for what she knows to come, and like clockwork the final challenger climbs up to greet her, her first mate, Marshall. "If it's all the same, I'd rather not go into the water, my lady," Marshall says. "You know the rules, Marshall. Now get up here and fight." Just as Marshall climbs to their feet, Dread kicks them square in the chest, launching them into the abyss. "Someone save my first mate. I would rather not lose a good pirate," Kraken Dread yells to her crew. The tentacles lower the ship and begin turning it as Dread walks away casually along its hull. It places the vessel into the water and recedes into the ocean. Once the final tentacles finally submerge, a celebratory cannon fire ensues. The explosions send water into the air, ushering the end of the rumble. "There you have it, mateys, the 54th Kraken, the Kraken of Dread," Sound announces. "May your next year of piracy be filled with dread." That was a story called Crossbone Rumble by Christopher Donleona, also known as peaceful-blu, under the subreddit Short Stories. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope to see you again next time.